All right, so this year I did something that I thought was impossible to do, and that was gaining 20 pounds of lean mass naturally. And as a guy who's been training for 7 years now, following science-based programs and doing these perfect bicep curls, that shouldn't be possible. But it's not because I wasn't training the right way or doing the right stuff all the time. It's because my body was never truly in an anabolic environment. So today I'm going to share with you the 6 things I did to become truly anabolic, to put on muscle mass much quicker, and how you can get this applied into your life today. So with that, I'm going to get into the very first thing, and that is to put yourself into a carbohydrate surplus. And I was doing a lot of research into the metabolic rate and thyroid optimization, and how if you increase carbohydrates to a certain amount, you'll be able to build more muscle without a ton of fat gain. So I was like, well, let's try this out. So I set my protein at 250, set my fats at 20%, and I started cranking carbohydrates on my diet. Started at 2,700 calories, and I worked my way all the way up to 4,500 calories over the course of about 7 to 8 months. In that time, I just slowly added more carbohydrates and kept an eye on my fat gain and also my body temp and pulse rate when it comes to thyroid optimization. I have more videos on that if you want to go take a look. By doing that, you set yourself up into a perfect anabolic environment in a few different ways. One, obviously, is the calorie surplus. You're at a 500 to 1,000 calorie surplus, you're gonna gain weight, and you are gonna be able to put on muscle mass and build on new lean tissue. But the fact is that whenever you're adding in this high amount of carbohydrates, high amount of sugar, high amount of just good quality nutrition, you increase thyroid function. And thyroid is one of the most truly anabolic hormones when it comes to doing this naturally. Now, on top of that, I didn't just eat trash carbohydrates. I wasn't slamming Pop-Tarts and cakes and pastries all day. I had a very testosterone-friendly diet. I'm talking a lot of whole, nutrient-dense foods. I would be having a ton of eggs, steak, gelatin, collagen, fruit, potatoes, rice, liver, oysters, orange juice. Really, my whole entire diet was those foods. I ate the same thing every day, and I ate in a calorie surplus and just kept going on. The amount of nutrient density coming in from zinc, selenium, B12, it just pretty much makes your body fueled. You allow your body to increase testosterone all the way, and you put yourself into a state to where you're constantly in this muscle building environment. So that was the bulk of my diet, and I pretty much just ate to fill my calorie intake throughout the day, but with one important caveat. I did time my starches to be pre and post workout. What I did is that I had my potatoes and rice pre-workout about an hour and a half, 2 hours before, and immediately after training. The reason for this is that you get a bigger insulin spike, and by doing that pre and post workout, you stay insulin sensitive. You allow your body to put all those nutrients and calories to fuel the muscle building process. Away from my workouts when I wasn't training, I sort of reduced my starch intake and just stuck to fruits and vegetables and a little bit of like rice or something, right? Not a ton, but like around workouts, I'm telling you, I'd honestly have like 3 potatoes at a time. I'm not gonna lie. And it really did make you feel good. And you go in and you train, you feel full, which leads me into the 4th thing that I did, is that I went absolutely silverback ape shit on the weights. I'm telling you, every time I went in there, I said, screw this science-based training, screw this perfect rep and stuff. I just went as hard as I could. And I didn't leave the gym until I either lifted more weights or did more volume every single time. I made progress every single workout, and I forced it to happen. I was not leaving until I hit that point. So that's like the big thing in training, is that sometimes we get stuck in this perfect plan and, this, oh man, I better squeeze my bicep right at angle number 10 or something. You don't need all that crap. You need to go in there, just train as hard as possible, Now, one thing that I did specifically with this is that I did do a lot of failure training, but I only did it to positive muscle failure, meaning that the concentric is the only time that I failed. I wasn't doing a ton of negative failure training, as I think that adds a little bit too much fatigue to the nervous system whenever you're trying to put on slabs of muscle. But I did a lot of concentric training, right? So you keep going until you hit positive muscle failure. So if you're doing a bench press, you're going to fail when you just can't get another rep, not on the return down negative rep. Now, the very last thing that I did is went from 5 grams of creatine to 20 grams of creatine a day. I'm telling you, I megadosed this crap. I was taking 20 grams every day, about 10 grams pre and 10 grams post workout. And in particular, my strength this year really did skyrocket. I went from 235 on the bench to 325. And I think that creatine had a really big part of that and allowed me to push beyond and add more lean tissue. There's a lot of fun studies whenever you look at it with creatine, muscle mass, DHT, and you'll see that if you do add creatine, especially at this dose, within 6 weeks, you're going to see a greater lean mass improvement than if you did not have it. So these are the main things that I did. It's pretty simple, guys. Just go in there, eat good, pump up the carbohydrates, train hard as hell, and take 20 grams of creatine.